many opinions in the Talmud are not law. Not only they're not law, they're just, wrong. We call it a hava, like I want to say. Hava, I would have thought to say, or something like that. It's like before we get to the final truth, we examine all the possibilities and we break them apart to see why they're wrong. And we're left with usually one final answer, right? Or we might be left with two opinions and we have no way of invalidating either one of them. That's a teiku. To this day, they still use teiku in Israel for football. When they have a draw, they call it a teiku. It comes from the Talmud. It stands for something like, we're going to wait for Elijah the prophet to come. Even opinions that aren't correct are in the Talmud. Why? Because if you don't address something, you'll never come to the truth. You have to address it to figure out the truth. You can't just say, I'm only going to put in the final opinion, because if we only put the final opinion in the Talmud, then how do you know the other opinions are not correct? So we put them all in there, and then they're all correct. Not only that, it's still part of Torah. Do you know what I mean? The whole thought process is still part of Torah. Also, if you walk into a study hall where they're studying Talmud, you'll see many, many tables with study partners facing each other, usually, across the table, in pairs of two. And there's a roar. When you walk into, like, BMG, for example, it's the largest yeshiva in the world. It's in Lakewood, New Jersey. If you walk in there, it's loud. There's just a roar. You can't really make out what people are saying because everyone's talking at the same time. And it's not just that. They're usually yelling at each other. They're yelling at each other, and they're not mad at each other. They're just trying to figure out who's right. So when it comes to Torah, yeah, it is a fight. It's a fight to the death to see who's right. Yeah. Now that's just my introduction. Add on to that, if you have someone who's easily triggered, someone who's in fight or flight, someone who's not rectified in their midos, which is like your character traits, someone like me, yeah, it's not gonna look so pretty, right? I don't think you're supposed to be mean to anyone, but I'm just saying, even in the Talmud, they're not always nice. Like, if someone says something and the other rabbi didn't like it, there's cases in the Talmud where they kind of like poke fun at the other, or at least in the commentaries on the Talmud. I've seen it where they're like, you could say, like, why is he not being nice to him? The way he talked to him is like, is that befitting of a rabbi? But no, because he's like really trying to express how wrong the other guy is, and his opinion. I can't think of an example right now, but I've come across it where it's like, is that really how the rabbis talk to each other? But yeah, that's really how they talk to each other when they're fighting over Torah. I'm not saying that's me. I'm saying I'm post-traumatized. I'm easily triggered. I'm also just not, I didn't rectify my midos. So when you take all that into account, I think that will help you to understand where I'm coming from. If I'm on a holy jihad mission, yeah, and I'm trying to bring rectification to a situation and come to the truth of a situation, the truth of a matter, first of all, I might say things that are incorrect, but that doesn't mean I'm going to delete them later, okay? I don't have to delete something just because it was incorrect. The Talmud leaves it in there. I'm going to leave it in my Facebook and my YouTube and wherever. If I was mean to someone in a way that I felt like was really, really mean, okay, so I will take that down, God willing, usually, But I'm saying even being mean to someone is not always wrong. In my case, it probably is, because that's what I said. I'm not the sages of the Talmud. They rectified their midos, their attributes. I didn't rectify my attributes. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to claim that I'm righteous. Yeah. Also, they were on a whole nother level to begin with. I don't think they were coming from a place of ego, although they were very self-identifiable, meaning like you can have a school of thought like Hillel, which is considered to be on the right side, or Shammai, which is considered to be on the left side. So yeah, their opinions are going to express their true self. That's not ego. That's just who they are. That's not ego, that they're always going to choose the right and they're always going to choose the left because they're ego. It's not their ego. It's their self, you know? So yeah, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't think everything I post is factually correct objectively, you know? That's not the case. I think they're important to address, and I address stuff. And then the manner in which I do so, I'm not claiming is correct either. I'm telling you, yeah, I know I'm messed up, bro. Why did I put my my post-trauma receipt diagnosis thing on my top of my profile? First of all, I put all of them. I only have one that I haven't access to in my emails. I've got a lot of diagnoses. I just don't have them on paper. I don't know where they are. I'd have to call up doctors or call hospitals and get my paperwork. This I had in my email for a long time, so that's why I have this one. Also, like, why did I have my profile picture as my my mugshot? Again, it's also the only mugshot that I still have. I took a picture once and it saved it to my Google Photos. I don't have my other mugshots, you know? But why did I put my mugshot up there? Because I want you guys to understand. I think most people that've seen enough of my videos, they don't take me too seriously in anything. Meaning if I say something that they resonate with, okay, that has nothing to do with me. Maybe I was the mouthpiece for something that they resonated with, but they're not accepting it because I said it. I really don't think there's a danger in me expressing anything that like, oh, now people are going to be misled because Yoel said something. No, I really don't think there's anyone who watches my videos that will just accept something because I said it. I think anyone who watches my videos enough knows, they know, like, they know not to take me seriously in anything. And the things that they resonate with, it's not because I said it. They resonated with it just for what it is. And it happens to be that I'm the one that worded it maybe to them at that moment, you know? And then people that don't know me and just watch one of my videos, they think I'm crazy. I'm saying no one takes me seriously. Who takes me seriously? No one takes me seriously in any of my videos. And I'm fine with that. I think I purposefully express myself in such a way that it's like I say very extreme things. I bring up extreme examples to make my points. So that's what I'm trying to say is I can say whatever I want on my Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. You can't say like, oh, I'm misleading people. No, I'm not. No one takes me seriously anyway. And if I say something that they don't like it because I said it. They like it because of what it is. And if I say something off, it's not gonna mislead anyone. First of all, in the comment section, there's always people pushing back, which is a good thing. That balances it and brings it back. And usually I'll self-correct. Usually I'll follow up with another video or I'll put something in the comments when I'm wrong. Right? I had that recently. I said Morgenstern says you're not allowed to pay the bus money. Why did I think he said that? I thought my friend told me that. But I called him, you know. I called him to double check. And he said Morgenstern didn't say that. And he said, you know, probably you even do have to pay for the buses. And I was like, wait. Morgenstern said you have to pay the bus. I didn't get clarity in the situation. I don't know what Morgenstern actually says. But that was a situation where I thought someone told me Morgenstern said you're not allowed to pay for the buses. And I went with that. I didn't say Morgenstern said you're not allowed to buses. I said I heard or maybe, I don't know. I didn't say Morgenstern says. I said I heard or something, right? And I corrected it. I put an edit on the post, and all three people that commented on that post, I replied to them. By the way, I was wrong, or whatever, fake news. You never said such a thing. I want to do another thing. I want to say another thing. Even if, like, sometimes you have, like, a rabbi will say something and his students will take it more extreme than the rabbi ever intended, right? And This was such a case, by the way. But my friend, I don't know, he was more or less joking, but maybe he really believed it. Like, he wasn't giving me a psak halacha, and he never intended me that I should publish it on Facebook. It was just a conversation we had like a year or two ago, and he was probably joking with me. You know, like we joke all the time about this type of stuff. Like, me and my friend circle, like, this synagogue is a house of idolatry. We don't mean that that synagogue is an actually house of idolatry. If it was, we wouldn't be able to go inside. I was on the phone with my friend Moshe the other day, and we were talking about how the synagogue he was currently in is the biggest house of idolatry of all them. Is he serious? No, he wouldn't be there then. It's a joke, right? So this was a case of that, where my other friend said something to me as a joke. I took it seriously. For some reason, I thought that he was saying it in the name of Morgenstern, which he wasn't. Okay? But, so sometimes you have people that are full of extremist views that are not correct. They're not correct because their teacher said something and they take it more extreme. So you could say that such a thing is unhelpful and you shouldn't speak about it because it's not true. But I would argue it's still important to address and talk about on Facebook, because a lot of people have no idea that there are people that hold such views or where they're coming from. You know, like, I have some pretty strong anti-Zionist sentiments inside of me. Whether or not I agree with them, they're inside of me, because the people that I've hung around, they really, really believe it, and they've really drilled it into me. And if you didn't hang around the people that I hung around, if you didn't go to the schools that I went to, you wouldn't have any understanding of these anti-Zionist sentiments, and to you, they're crazy, and to you, they make no sense. So if a guy like me is not going to come on Facebook and spew these anti-Zionist sentiments in a very extreme way, maybe even more extreme than the rabbis who originally said them, which, so you would say, so don't say that because you're not even being correct. You're being more extreme than the rabbi ever intended. Still, I would argue it's important that I say them, because how else are you guys on the internet going to know that people like me actually have these sentiments and why we have these sentiments? You get what I'm saying? Sometimes I might say something really extreme, and maybe even the rabbi who said it didn't mean it as extreme as I'm saying it. But still, I promise you, there's thousands of Orthodox Jews out there that believe the same thing I believe, and it's important to address and bring it up. I'll give you an example. If you have water with dirt in it, and you want to take out all the dirt. So I'm saying, if you just look at the water, it might look pretty clean. You can't tell that there's dirt. But if you take a stick and you start stirring the water, all the dirt's going to come up. But then you can get rid of all that dirt. You can scoop out all that dirt. But you first have to stir the water before you can get the dirt out, right? Same thing here. I might say something that's like way off and crazy to you. But if that's me stirring the water, and now we can remove the dirt. We can't remove the dirt if we don't stir the water. So I'm just stirring the water. And in terms of being mean, I'm not trying to be mean. If I was mean to Gila or Yira or other people, like screenshotting their shit and putting it on and whatever, I'm not saying that's right or correct. I'm not defending that. And I'm not doing it as a rabbi or a religious person. I'm saying I'm doing it as me, Yoel. And I'm trying to show you guys, like, dude, of course I have post-trauma, and if I feel like I was touched the wrong way, I'll respond with like a fight or flight type of response, you know? Which today is more like a fight response, not flight. For me, in my situation. Yeah? And also, I'm not representing Torah. Like you can't hold me to the standard of like a sage, a Torah sage, you know? I would love to be a Torah sage, but that's not who I am. I'm realistic about who I am. And I want you to know that. So that's why I took down my profile picture of me in a talis and a tefillin, because someone can come onto my page and be like, oh, this guy is a holy guy. And then they're going to see all this nasty stuff about me. And they're going to be like, this is Torah, you know? And that's going to make them feel badly towards Torah, right? So I figured better you come onto my profile and you see a guy who's been arrested, a guy who has psychiatric issues. And then if I say something good you like about the Torah, good. But if I say something bad and you don't like the Torah, now you can't blame it on the Torah. You say the guy has psychiatric issues and he's a criminal. Which, for me, that's my approach right now. I want to be seen as someone with criminal past, psychiatric issues, and don't take me seriously about anything, but maybe I have what to bring to the table because I have certain skills, I've got certain experiences that can be helpful, right? So this is why I think I can say whatever I want on Facebook, other than being hurtful towards people, which, yeah, I do. I hurt people on my Facebook, and that's not okay. But I'm not blaming myself. I'm saying this is just... Dude, I'm saying if I wasn't if I wasn't Jewish, or like an Orthodox Jewish, you wouldn't blame me. I'm saying, what, you think people in the world are nicer than me? You think so? I'm just saying, like, dude, you pick a random guy off the street in New York. You think they would be nicer to Gila or Yira or anyone else that I've been mean to than I am? You think they would be nicer? No, they wouldn't. I don't think I'm meaner than the average person. I don't think I'm more messed up than the average person in this regard. No, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm really, really not. I'm just a normal dude who's easily triggered, a little bit crazy, you know? And also, I want to say something. When you're in fight or flight, everything looks like a conspiracy. Like, if someone sent me a screenshot from a chat, right? Irma sent me a screenshot from a chat, one of Yira's chats, that they had a post of mine in there. So it could have been just a one-off thing, right? It could have just been like one screenshot. It doesn't mean they're screenshotting every post and saving it for ammo. But you know what? In that moment, when I saw that, and I felt like under attack from that and other angles at the same time, right? Like, yeah, in my head, it's a major conspiracy. Like, look, dude, there's a whole conspiracy against me from these guys, which is probably not the case, right? It's probably not the case. They probably don't have a chat dedicated just to Yoel. I don't think they do, right? But in the moment when you're in your fight or flight, yeah, it feels like that. Everything feels like a major, major conspiracy, you know? Yeah, I think I've said everything I wanted to cover. Chavez.